We're going to get into the Grand National now. The last thing we'll talk about on this podcast and this video. You've obviously ridden in the Grand National before I come to the betting experts about who they're going to tip up, and before I run through the betting. Just give us an idea of the challenge that you face riding in this race, the different challenges it provides, and how you think, and what horses you think and what jockeys are best set to put in a good performance.
Yeah, I started probably show my age now. 12 years ago, I had my first ride. I've had 7 goes at the race. Best was on T3, finishing 3rd. He was probably the best rider I had going into the race. But certainly from when I first rode, I rode Cornish Set probably 10 years ago at the age of 17, and I got round. But he was he was competitive in like a Badger Beer type race. If he ran now, he would nowhere near be good enough. But yet he finished, I think, 8th or 10th that year. So the race is just, every year is stepping up. There's Gold Cup horses. Look, Bristol May was nearly impossible. Any of the top 10 are good enough to run in a Gold Cup. You need a proper animal to win this race. And last year's race I thought was a fantastic race, and it's brilliant for Aintree that those 2 horses come back. All the talks now for the favourite, Tiger Roll. What a legend he is. It's just, I think any racing fan, he's captured the imagination. He's to win a Grand National. He won at Market Raising first for Nigel Hawke, got sold to the Gordon Elliott, won a Triumph Hurdle, and his just progress. He's won a National Hunt Chase. What that horse has achieved is just phenomenal, and what a legend of the horse he is. And I don't think he gets enough credit for what the sort of horse he is. He is just, and it would be exceptional if he could win, but he's not the biggest. I know he won the cross country race, but exactly, it would be something else if that horse won. But the way Present Company, the distance between them. Willie Mullins has said record going, he'll carry the weight a lot better than probably what Tiger Roll, and I think that's a massive thing. If he has a good clear round, I think Present Company has to, at the prices on the distant last year, you have to put a bit of, I'm not a betting man, but he's 20 to 1, and Tiger Roll's near enough 4 to 1 favourite, and there was only sort of inches between them last year, and Present Company has obviously this has been his race all year, and for me, just going on that line of form, the conditions have been quite similar this year. Then, Present Company at 20 to 1, I think is a fair bet.
Well, I'll run through the betting quickly. I mean, Tiger Roll, 4 to 1 best price currently, 7 to 2 in most places, and I think most people may be put off by that price. But worth noting that last year Tiger Roll did go off 10 to 1 for this race, and obviously a couple of boxes ticked since then. Rathfinden 11 to 1, Vintage Cloud 14 to 1, Annabelle Fly 14 to 1, and I'll just say 18 to 1 bar because I'm not going to run through the whole lot. But Present Company, as you said, is 20 to 1, and the gamble today has been Joe Farrell, who's in from 33s and bigger into a short 16 to 1 and 22 to 1 best price. Guys, I mean, there's a lot written about trends and the like and all of this stuff and how to pick the Grand National. And I just want you guys just to flag up a couple of runners that you think present a bit of value.
First off, I think Tiger Roll, I haven't got any issue with his price. I think he's 9 to 2 on Betfair. I think it's given his profile, the handicap will give him £8 more on the back of that ridiculously impressive cross-country win. So I don't have any issue with his price as such. I think you'll get a bigger price and enhanced place terms on Friday. So maybe hold fire there. The one I like, I backed it yesterday at 28s and 25s, is Para Now. It's in fact the best handicapped horse in the race officially. The UK handicapper will give him an extra £10 for his easy Leinster National win last time, his second win in that race. He hasn't got any form over more than 3 miles. He took a bad fall when he fell when he was favourite for the Irish National last year. But I was originally lukewarm on him because of the doubt about the trip. But then I went and had a look at the sire Luso, and he's a sire of so many good stayers. Chicago Grey, Hear the Echo. Willie Mullins has had a fair few stayers off him, 3 mile 6 winners and the like. So I think they expect a big run about that stepping up in trip. I thought, given his form claims, the rain will be welcome for that. He's got good ground form as well as heavy ground form. I think if he gets round, I think he'll run a very big race. I backed Single Farm Payment at a really bad price. I actually went in again yesterday at about 95 on Betfair. Didn't run too well at Cheltenham, but he's a kind of quirky horse that could take to it. But my biggest bet by a long way is on Pair of Brown Eyes, and I just think he's got a really good chance, and I think the extra trip could really see him come to life.
So Pair of Brown Eyes 25 to 1 as it stands at the moment. That is with William Hill, Betfair, Paddy Power. With the place terms at the moment, you're only really earning 6 places. I think that is the best across Oddschecker at the moment. That is definitely going to change as the week goes on. So maybe worth just making your short list now and then checking back to see the place terms in a couple of days' time. You can't see really
just before Andy finishes up, that Joe Farrell, he does need a couple to come out. So,
yeah.
But you'll get your money back if he gets
Exactly.
down. Yeah.
Ramses Tate is the other one.
That would be my
bit
fancy.
of money for. That would be your fancy.
I didn't mention it before, but that if I thought I like his profile going into the race. I thought ran a massive race in the Welsh National and at Haydock. Very good jumper.
7-year-old though.
No, that's one of the trends, isn't it?
7-year-olds never win a national.
So who's
It's changing this year.
flag him up? Who's going to win, Andy?
I certainly think Joe Farrell's a big player if he gets in. I thought he ran a night catching race the other day at Newbury, didn't he? Under top weight. Don't think he was necessarily looked that busy that day in many respects. That they obviously thought, well, we'll give him another run. We'll take on one of the nationals, whether it's the Scottish again for a repeat bid or maybe the national. If he does get in, any horse that wins a 4-mile national of sorts has got to be a factor off a low weight. And we saw Aurora's Encore, of course, win do the double a few years ago. And that brings me on to Vintage Clouds, who was third and a gallant third in the Scottish National last year. He ran really well at Cheltenham. Still not convinced Cheltenham's his track. I don't think he really wants that sort of tight old course. But on decent ground, I think this is the key to this fella nowadays. On decent, no worse than good to soft. He's a fair operator. He jumps what I would consider conservatively. In other words, he doesn't throw himself at the fence. He's not exuberant, but he gets over fairly efficiently. I think he's the kind of horse that'll take to it. And if he does, and I think stamina, will certainly be in abundance for him. I'd be surprised if he got round and he wasn't at least there, crossing the Melling Road. Rathvinden strikes me as being a horse that Willie Mullins has targeted for this race for quite some while. The fact that he's just running the ones very similar to Hedge Hunter, he doesn't need to give him too many runs. He's keeping him fresh, keeping the lid on him. And the only time he's ever had a stamina test, which was the 4-miler at Cheltenham, he came through fine colours and he beat Native River that day. I think he's a talent. And Walking the Mill, nobody's really talked about him, but at least he's got some form around the track this year. He won the Beecher. He's been given the old Irish campaign since. Get your handicap chase mark off to mark 144, then don't blow it by winning another one, and run him in 2 novice hurdles. So he's just kept the pop ticking along. Ran 32 days ago, so he's still keeping his mind interested in the game. But he's always struck me as a horse that might win a big race at a decent price. And of course, there's obviously Tiger Roll. You've got I think every man worth his salt, and any tipster when they're doing the 1, 2, 3, 4 in their sort of column, will put Tiger Roll in that bracket at some point. You just have to. Even though he was all out last year and he only just hung on, didn't he? It was 8 lengths clear at the chair, and then he's like scrambling for air.
It won't be as heavy. It was heavy last year.
It won't be as bad now. And he's thrives it. Who would have thought a national winner could actually improve?
I know.
Markedly as well, winning a 2.5 mile hurdle and winning the way he did at Cheltenham. So it's a fascinating race. Obviously, we've got a great story if Tiger Roll wins it again. But from a betting perspective, I'll be looking for something much more meatier odds. My number 1 would be Vintage Clouds. Walking the Mill would be number 2, and if Joe Farrell got in, he'd be another one to consider.
Don't be a fool. Bet with Oddschecker for the Grand National.